Good morning and welcome to our morning of baking with my beautiful granddaughter Lakey, and today we are going to be making banana bread, and it is a 100% healthy bread for you and your family. So let's begin. Our first one says we need to add 3 bananas and mash them up in here. So Lakin's going to take and open the bananas up and then start mashing them. Easy way to open a banana is go like this. Take your fingernail and stab it and just peel it apart. And then when you do that, then because we're going to mash them, we're going to break these into sections. Just like that. And then again, open a banana, stick your fingernail in the back side of it, and pull to one side, and it splits right open. So you can start mashing. You just mash and mash and mash. Takes some work to do it. Okay, now that we have this all mashed up, which she did an excellent job at, the next thing we need to add is coconut brown sugar. And the reason why I use coconut sugar is because it's not refined like white sugar. That is very terrible for the inside of your body. And it makes you fat. So you don't want that, you want this. So here we need a half a cup of this coconut brown sugar. Now she's going to stir it all up and get it all nice and smooth. Good job. Okay. And now we need 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I use non-alcohol kind, which is very good for you. You don't need that alcohol inside your vanilla. So I use organic, non-alcoholic vanilla. And if you notice too, it's very creamy as opposed to the vanilla extract is very runny. That's because it has alcohol in it. So now she's going to stir that up.
Where I put this?
Okay, just go ahead and stir.
Now that it's actually like getting more like where you can actually stir it better.
It's a little more liquidy, I guess you might say, too. And then the next ingredient we're going to add is flour. But I don't use regular flour, of course. So I use my own homemade almond flour. I take organic almonds and put them in my grinder and grind them up. It's not super fine, as you can see. Still has chunks of almonds in it. But I prefer this because it gives the banana nut flavor to the banana bread. So we're going to use, it calls for 2 cups of flour. I use 1.5 cups of my almond flour, and then I use 1 cup of organic almond flour bought in at the store. So we'll just put, so grab one of these. We got to make sure that it's all the way to the folds though. So tip it sideways and shake it till you get that completely full on top. More yet? Okay, more. You always want to make sure when you're making something that you have it almost leveled out, and then pour it in. Yep. And then we're going to take a 1/2 cup of this yet. And then we'll take a 1/2 cup of this flour. And again, I do that. You could do it with all just the regular, like store-bought if you don't want to make your own. But I find the more purest ingredients is when you make it from scratch. So now you did a 1/2 one of them? This? Okay, so now a 1/2 cup of that. Stir it all up.
Mix it. It's really, really liquidy now.
And you'll find that pretty soon it's going to start getting much, much more thicker as we continue adding things.
You have to make sure that you kind of get the sides a little bit.
Yep. Which I will give you one of my scrapers.
And it's really, really easy to see some bananas that might not be matched up. I could have said last time.
And from now on, like, you can not use the fork no more and use that. Now that you got things mashed up pretty well. And if you have any mixing bowls, use some that have like a handle right there. So now she's going to be trying this. She can grab onto this handle and do like a scrape. She has total control of her bowl because she has this handle. And we also need to add a half a cup of some type of starch, like something that's going to make it thick. So this is called arrowroot starch. It's a gluten-free starch that we use in our house instead of like tapioca starch or just some of the other basic starches, including flour.
Whoa,
the kind I use is this right here. And it's arrowroot starch, and it's a very much better for your digestive tract.
And then I'm going to mix it.
Yep. And then we also are going to add a half a teaspoon of sea salt. So this is a half a teaspoon of sea salt. She's going to get that all mixed up nice.
And now there's actually going to be like, now it's actually like comes apart, so it's going to be easier to mix.
Again, use your handle. Oh yeah, you're left-handed, so use your handle and scrape on the sides. Make sure you get all of that stuff on the sides off. Blend it in good. Last two things to go.
Okay, I think I got it mixed up.
Okay, I'll give it one whirl myself. So right now, it looks really very good already. This is what it looks like right now. Doesn't that look yummy? It's going to make the very best banana bread you have ever experienced. Now comes the really fun part. This part is kind of fun for kids because it's kind of a science project. So it's calling for 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So you want to put that in there. And I kind of just sprinkle it over the top. You don't mix it in because there's a special science project you do.
So just like
sprinkle it all over. Okay, you throw that in the sink. And then we are going to use apple cider vinegar. And I use an organic, all-natural vinegar. You always need to shake it up, especially with anything you use that's natural. It's always going to separate, so you need to make sure you shake it up. Now this is the fun part. We're going to put in a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and we're going to watch it work. The two are going to react to each other. Can you hear that? Let's see if we can get you to see it. Baking soda and apple cider vinegar are reacting to the chemicals in each one of them and creating this little fizz. And you're going to let it sizzle like that until it's done. That is activating the ingredients and is going to let the banana bread rise without any yeast, without any of that natural or the refined flour. So that's why we use this kind of stuff to make those things work without using the bad stuff. Okay, now it kind of stops sizzling, so you can stir it all up, and that's it. That's the end of the ingredients that go into our banana bread.
So I'm going to mix it, and then I will show you guys.
As soon as it's done, we have already taken a bread pan, lined it with parchment paper. We're going to pour it in there, and you see I use these little paper clips to hold the parchment paper in place so that as I pour it in, it doesn't spill off to the side or inside one of the parchment paper folds. And then as soon as it's done, you simply lift it out of the pan and let it cool, remove from the parchment paper, and there you have it.
So I'm just like scraping it off the side. The extras that's on the side.
Make it nice and smooth, completely stirred together. Is it good?
Yeah.
Okay, now again, I'll take and give it just one little whirl. Make sure it's all scraped, and here you have it. This is what it looks like. Kind of runny now, but guarantee it is going to be fabulous. So, you can pour it into your pan. Again, use your handle, however you need to do it, and then just take and pour. Try to stay into the center and not on the paper clips. And then once you get all of that in, you are going to want to scrape the bowl and put the rest of it in. And the way you use a scraper, too, is use the sides. Use the side of the scraper. See how well that scrapes that? Here you go. I'm going to hand this up here. Okay, make sure you watch where you are, because you almost got to the end of it. Let's scrape it down. And then once you get most of it done, then I'll just take and scrape the sides down and then scoop it to one end. And again, you scrape that bowl as clean as you can. I mean, it's actually fairly good to eat. Not that I would recommend you eating it, but you know how most kids like to scrape the bowl, or lick the bowl, I should say. So now we're just going to level it out like this. So this is what it looks like. And then it goes inside an oven for 350, at 350 degrees. Oops, one thing I forgot. We need to remove the paper clips. And we throw them in the sink because they need to be washed as well. Now we put this into the oven, and it'll be in here for 65 minutes. We'll set the timer. And that's it. And we will come back when it is done and show you what the final product is. Enjoy. Okay, welcome back. Now guess what? Our house smells fantastic right now.
Yes.
Because of that banana bread. It is crazy smelling. So now it's time to pull it out of the oven. And we have already put a toothpick in it to check it to make sure that it was done. And it is thoroughly done, so it's time to pull it out. Let's see what it looks like. Oh my. This looks fantastic. Here it is. Yum. And it actually, I pulled it out a little bit before to test it to see if it was done. And so it does flatten down. It was risen up a little bit. So now it's flattened back down. As long as you cook it enough, it will stay flat even. If you don't have it cooked enough, it'll sink in. So make sure you are testing with a toothpick when you pull it out. Okay, now that I have it pulled out, I am going to lift it out with the parchment paper onto a plate so that it can continue to cool. And it's as easy as that. And there you have it, a nice loaf of yummy, yummy banana bread. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you make it. And let me know when you make it too, so that I know how yours turned out. Thank you for watching Summerlicious.